Good evening, Steel City. Welcome to the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tonight, the 55th edition will be live from the original podcast room of the Black and Gold Paraphernalia. On tonight's show, the Pittsburgh Steelers team owner, Art Rooney II, finally speaks out. But there are a lot of we know in this interview. I will go over some things that I think he's on the right track of doing. But will he practice what he preaches? We know. Hashtag, here we go. The Pittsburgh Penguins now last in the Metro Division, 7 points out of the last playoff spot. Come up with an OT win in Utah to finish their season-long 7-game road trip. The win did produce another piece of NHL history for the captain, Sidney Crosby. Let's go, Pens. In NCAA men's basketball, the Pitt Panthers ACC players heated up, playing rival teams and beating Syracuse and North Carolina, with the game versus North Carolina having a Duke North Carolina vibe, as the two head coaches who played versus each other now have coached versus each other. Jeff Capel comes out on top of Hubert Davis. Pitt beats North Carolina. All hail Pitt. The Yinzer Report has teamed up with the New York State of Sports show with Ricky Keeler as we embark on a Super Bowl show coming up Super Bowl Sunday for the IE Sports Radio, Ultimate Sports Radio Network Super Bowl 59 streaming event. Ricky will join me and we will talk about our very exciting show coming up for Super Bowl Sunday with IE Sports Radio and Ultimate Sports Radio Network. I will start tonight's show off with our tremendous sponsors, IE Sports Radio Vital, along with the amazing Planet Jerky Premium Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on another planet, and Seal the Deal Wax, Seal Wax Stamps. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. Plus IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all out of sports while we are on the air doing the Yinzer Report. Steel City, please come join me. Episode 55, 34th on StreamYard. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
Well, good evening, everybody. This is Ralph Calise, your host for the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Today is episode 55, and as you know, as I've been doing along here with the first 55 episodes, once I get to a spot where there is a player that I really like on the Pittsburgh Steelers, I usually dedicate his uniform number to that show. And today, 55 happens to be Joey Porter Sr., not Junior. Yes, Joey Porter, vital part of the Steeler championship seasons back for Super Bowl 40 especially. I just would like to also promote this sponsor here as we have a new sponsor, and that is IE Sports Radio is proudly partnered with hold on, I got the wrong one. I'm sorry, guys. There it is. Okay. IE Sports Radio has a new sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. Get Raw Nutrition at getrawnutrition.com. Use promo code IESR for 10% off. So you could go out there and get that. And don't forget the sponsors I already played. You had the last one there was Seal the Deal Wax Seals. You had the Vital Apparel. And you had the Planet Jerky Premium Beef Biscuit Jerky, the best jerky on the planet. All right, so we're going to start the show off today. We're going to do Art Rooney had spoken out about the Steelers and the Steelers ending of the season, and he came out this week and he had a couple of interviews, but he did have an interview with one of the prominent reporters out there in Pittsburgh, and as you know, as I talk on the show here, the media in Pittsburgh is kind of a little weak when it comes to answering the good questions and all that. So he came out this week and he was interviewed by this prominent reporter from KDKA TV. Bob Pompiani is his name. And he's been around the Steelers for a long time with the TV station. And I believe he was a reporter before he started with the TV. And he was asking all the questions Steeler fans wanted to be asked. The Steelers media and journalists talk a big game, and then they give softball questions to the owners, coaches, and Mike Tomlin for sure. And of course, they pussyfoot around with the players. So this interview came out this week, and some standout questions that stuck with me during this interview have, as I mentioned in the beginning, they have answers for the next upcoming seasons. A lot of very disconcerting answers, in my opinion. So here's how it went. Right off the bat, great question was asked. It said the guy Papiani, he greeted Art Rooney II, and the first question he asks is, "We sat here last year. You talked about urgency and playoff wins, and you didn't get one again this year. So that's 8 years in a row. What is the state of your team at this point?" Okay, now just listen to his answers. Listen to how I give his answers. Well, certainly ending the way we did was disappointing and frustrating. It leaves us with a lot of work to do, and so that's what we are here to do. We have to get better. We had a 3-game stretch there where we played 3 of the best teams in the league, and 2 of them now are in the Super Bowl. So we kind of saw where we were versus where they are, and in my opinion, they weren't even close. And we know we have got to do a lot of work to get back on track and take the next step. The next question, with no hesitation by the reporter there, Bob Papiani, was, "What is the difference between where they are and where you are?" And Art Rooney II's answer to this I mean, you have to say QB is one of the big differences. We need to get solid play in the quarterback department, and we had that at times this year, but at other times we didn't. So we have a decision to make, and that's probably the biggest decision we have to make going into this offseason. We have a decision to make, and it will be interesting over the next month or so to see where we come out. We are having meetings about it, and we have some work to do on that front. This is like, then he was asked about the coaching job in Chicago, about Chicago calling Mike Tomlin, and he said it was a pretty short conversation. We were not interested in pursuing that, especially in a trade. So everybody's basically got their coaches out there, but anybody out there that thought they were going to be getting a coach, and that coach being Mike Tomlin via trade, if you've been listening to the Yinzer report here, I told you it wasn't happening. Bottom line, look, you don't win as many games in this league as Mike Tomlin has, and he's a good coach. He is frustrated as anybody in terms of not taking us to the next step, and he knows that we need to do what to do in the postseason. He's been there before. The postseason streak is something that people talk about versus the regular season. Mike and I have talked enough to know that I don't think he really cares about all those wins in the regular season. It's about the postseason. I'm going to read that again, and you guys make your own opinion about that. I talked enough to know that I don't think he really cares about all those wins in the regular season. It's about the postseason. Okay, guys, that is totally opposite of what's been happening. Yes, he's been winning the games, but postseason comes, it's a different story. Rooney said he's looking to find a second year with offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, and preferably with one of the 2 quarterbacks he had on the roster this year. He also went on to say, "We are not opposed at any changes when we need to make them." Bob Papiani went on to the defense, and the question was asked, defensively, you had the highest paid defense. Were you disappointed with how they played down the stretch? His answer was, I mean, it starts with stopping the run, and we didn't do that. And that's Steelers football. So, on the defensive line, we probably need to get a little younger there. We are fortunate to have Cam Hayward there leading the way off his great season, but we may need to look we may need to look to have some young blood on that, defensive line. This coming year, in addition to the quarterback situation, you also have some other things that have to be taken care of, and I would imagine sooner than later. Again, mentioning the quarterback position, Rooney II says that depending on the happenings at the QB position, he thinks their cap room that they have will hopefully bring them a free agent or two that can help the Steelers. Another comment Rooney II made was unlikely categories in terms of trading TJ Watt. Dedicated player, solid piece to our defense, loves being a Steeler. He's a guy, we want in that locker room going forward. And then his closing part that I took out of the interview was, of course, he started it with, we have some big decisions to make, and, we going to be rolling up our sleeves, doing the best we can to make sure we are better next year. Okay, Art. I don't know. There you go. I'm even saying it. I don't know what to make of anything good out of that interview. I really don't see anything good. The only really good thing in there that I think that he said is about the quarterback. Because honestly, right now, if you're playing in the AFC, you are not going to win any AFC playoff games or any AFC championship games versus the two teams that were in that AFC championship game, because those teams have a quarterback and the Steelers do not have a quarterback. They don't even have a quarterback on their roster right now because nobody is signed, and they're trying to figure out who their quarterback is going to be. But I do like the idea that he did say needing a quarterback is something that the Steelers are going to need to get where they got to go. So we'll see what happens. They're going to sign. They're going to try to sign Russell Wilson again, which I don't want. I hope that doesn't happen. Just that there's not really anybody out there in great shakes that you really want to sign. So unless he does something crazy in the draft, I really would like to see them give Justin Fields a chance. But who knows what's going to happen out there. So my summary of this interview that he had was, one thing for sure about Art Rooney II is that he's not, going to trash the organization. He didn't trash anything in this interview, but, he did lead you down a path of what he is feeling. Need a quarterback, need help defensive line. We all know the Steelers are not near the Bills, Chiefs, Eagles of the world, and he believes in Tomlin. And Tomlin, as he mentioned, was frustrated with the end of the season. And aren't we all frustrated with how that season ended? So frustrated that we don't even want, well, a lot of us don't want Mike Tomlin as the coach no more. And I don't see Art Rooney doing the right thing here. He's got to go out and make a bang this offseason, and I mean a bang. You got to bring in a quarterback. You got to bring in some top-notch wide receivers. You're probably going to need a top-notch running back. You need help on the defensive line. They looked in shambles the last 5 games of the season. It looked like they didn't even want to be on the field. The running games for each of those teams that they played were running up and down the field, and they need a lot of work this offseason. They need a lot of work in this offseason. So let's hope Art Rooney knows, and we know, like he says, has something up his sleeve. I came up with this stat, being that I don't foresee the Steelers winning an AFC championship in the near future. And this kind of goes back to when Ben Roethlisberger was quarterback, and he was going up against Tom Brady and Peyton Manning all those years. He was in the championship game, but he only won 2. He only won 2, and he didn't play against Brady, Manning, and of course Patrick Mahomes in any of those 2 that he won. So the other ones he did, he lost. So this came out this week. Every AFC championship game since 2003 has included Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and Patrick Mahomes. Those are your only quarterbacks that have been in the AFC championship since 2003. Of course, the other teams that they played had their quarterbacks, but it's been a namestay since 2003 that those 4 quarterbacks were in an AFC championship. And you can look at the names, all Hall of Famers, all Hall of Famers, all Hall of Famers. And if the Patrick Mahomes keeps going the way he's going, I don't know, maybe people out there want to shoot it up in the comment. I think he's going to turn out to be better than Tom Brady. There, I said it. All right, so moving on. The Steelers have 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 7 guys slated to play in that thing they call the Pro Bowl out there. Yes, they have Chris Boswell, Minka Fitzpatrick, Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, who won't be playing. He backed out. Miles Killebrew, Isaac Samalo, Russell Wilson, and Patrick Queen. You got Russell Wilson in a Pro Bowl game. My God. I don't even call it the Pro Bowl no more. We were talking on a band app this morning for IE Sports Radio. I called it a fake game, a fake Pro Bowl. And, those are the only bowls the Steelers are going to be making anytime soon is the Pro Bowl. They're not going to be making any Super Bowls, in my opinion. They got a lot of work to do. All right, so let's check the comments here. We have the comments going up here, and I just want to shout out to my good buddy that I used to work with there, Big Lion Cat 646. My man was in the chat room. I think even 5 minutes before everyone was on the air, I saw comments coming up. Man, Pat, thanks for joining in, man. And yes, you were the first one here for the big boy news, and you got it. He says he really needs the Eagles to beat the refs loving the Chiefs. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that. I'm going to be rooting for the Eagles too. Mikey Guns. Ralphie, what's up, my Hall of Fame brother? What's up, Mikey? How are you? Terran Rodriguez, good evening, Ralph. Have an awesome show. Thank you, Terran. And we got Mikey Guns again. How are you feeling about the Steelers sticking with Tomlin? Mikey, it's a done deal. So it's going to be, he's got 2 more years left on his contract. He's going to be there through the thick and thin because Art Rooney is never going to fire him. Mikey Guns again, Yinzer Report, my go-to show for all things Pittsburgh. Thank you, Mikey. Appreciate that comment. And it's a good question. He says, who is the nicest Steeler player you ever met in person? Wow, that's a great question, Mikey. I've met a lot in my life, Mikey. To pick out one would be tough. The nicest Steeler player I've ever met in person. I'm going to go with Hines Ward. I did a show about meeting him in person with my son when my son was a little guy. And he took my son. I went up and I met him to have something to sign. And he said, "Is that your son?" And I said, "Yeah, I was just so in tune with seeing Hines Ward. My son was crawling under the table." He goes, "Is that your son that just crawled under the table?" And the next thing I know, my son popped up and he was not sitting on his lap, but he was right next to Hines Ward. And Hines Ward picked him up and put him on his lap. And it was great. Guys were like running over to like grab him. And he's like back in the guy. He's like, "Hey, the kid's sitting on my lap. Leave him alone." and he remembered that. He remembered that for years to come. Even meeting him at camp, he would always ask, "Where's your son? Where's your son?" Raymond Mann, hey buddy, have a great show. Thanks, Ray. And Mikey Guns again, Patrick Mahomes will never be better than the GOAT Tom Brady. Yeah, I would do that. I knew a comment was coming out there about that. All right. So thanks for the comments. All right. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to come back. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the Penguins and the Pitt Panthers, the basketball team, real quick. And then we're going to have a special guest come on. That is Ricky Keeler from the New York State of Sports show, who does the New York show here in New York. And me and Ricky, we have a special announcement. We're going to be doing a streaming show on Super Bowl Sunday for IE Sports Radio and the Ultimate Sports Radio Network. We have a time slot for that Sunday, and we're going to get into that when Ricky comes on a little bit later. All right, so let me take a break. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back after these fellow shows that are on IE Sports Radio to check out. But first, the IE Sports Radio sponsor. And here we go. We'll be right back.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
The light is red, the kids are in bed, which means it is time for Mile High Musings with me, Aaron Yellow, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And let's get into the Pittsburgh Penguins as we get closer to our guest coming on, as I mentioned. The Pittsburgh Penguins are 21, 24, and 8. They are 8th in the Metro. That is last place in the Metro. They are 7 points out of a playoff spot, and they have 6 teams ahead of them. And they have a lot of work to do to get back into a playoff spot. This 7-game road trip really put a dagger in them. Their goals for average is 2.85, and their goals against average is 3.52. and they are 26.0 on the power play. Evgeny Malkin has been out the last 4 games with a lower body injury. And Sidney Crosby, who is the Pittsburgh Penguins, stays hot for the ice-cold Penguins. Crosby tied Avs legend Joe Sakic for the most multi-point games in NHL history. So Sid Crosby, like I'm saying, is maybe in the latter part of his career, but the Penguins captain remains a big-time offensive producer. He has recorded a 3-game goal streak, including scoring the overtime winner in Wednesday's 3-2 win over the Utah Hockey Club. It also marked the 4th goal for Crosby in his past 5 games. He made a gorgeous move near the net to win the game in OT. And in doing so, Crosby scored the 23rd overtime goal of his professional career. Crosby, of course, now is 37 years old. He's on pace for 85 points this season. It's unclear if Crosby will finish the career with the Penguins, who are 5 points out of the final wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. And regardless of where he's playing, Crosby is still an elite talent on the ice. So Crosby, I don't know. I'll put this banner up there about Sidney Crosby, and I was thinking after he had his milestone, he was named to the 4 Nations team to play for Canada. And will the Penguins trade Crosby when the deadline comes? I mean, it's probably something that'll be unheard of in Pittsburgh, but they, like I said, they're in last place in the Metro now, and they're falling further and further out of the playoff race. They're falling below people, and I think there's only 2 teams that they're ahead of at this point. And I don't know, would it be a good idea to try to trade Crosby for some assets, for some young players, and give Crosby a chance with a good team, maybe to come up with another Stanley Cup? So it's something we'll monitor as this break comes up for this 4 Nations tournament. And Crosby will be playing for Canada. And the Penguins, like I said, they finished a 7-game road trip, and they won that last game 3-2 in overtime on Crosby's game-winning goal there. All right, so let's get into the Pittsburgh Panthers. They have won 2 in a row in the ACC after they had a 4-game losing streak. They are 5-4 in the ACC, and their total record is 14-6. So they rebounded with back-to-back wins versus Syracuse and home versus North Carolina after a 4-game losing streak. The win versus Syracuse was a mission to reverse the losing streak at the end of time. Pitt's record trending in the wrong direction. Their morale was holding steady for the time being. This was a desperate win for Pitt, especially in the ACC. Ishmael Leggett, one of their prominent guards, commented, "I loved our fight. I loved everything about who we are. We will not fold under pressure. We will keep fighting. We did it. We did that. We handled ourselves and came away with the win." Leggett's comments showing leadership went out, put up 16 points, and Pitt ended the losing streak, and they won 77-73 versus Syracuse. Then the other night came North Carolina, an ACC rivalry game. Also was a coaching rivalry game, as Hubert Davis, the Carolina's coach, went up against Jeff Capel, the former Duke player. So you had 2 former players, one for North Carolina and one for Duke, now going up against each other coaching versus each other. So it had a kind of like a North Carolina NC State type of rivalry. So what happened here was Pitt won the game 73-65 as ACC star point guard Jalen Lowe for the Pitt Panthers scored 18 points, and Zach Austin added 15 points. But more important, became like Dikembe Mutombo on defense, adding a season-high 5 blocks three especially important ones down the stretch to help Pitt secure its lead. Pitt, other ACC star guard leader, Ishmael Leggett, scored 15 points. And Lowe also added to his complete box score stats with 7 assists, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals. Zach Austin's special game, the aforementioned Dikembe Mutombo game, had himself involved all over the court. He hit a three-pointer, giving Pitt a 1-point lead. He then made another three-pointer that made it 67-65 before that shot he hit to give him the 1-point lead with 2:35 left to play, which propelled Pitt to the lead. And then it was like watching Dikembe Mutombo as Austin blocked 2 shots and Leggett made 4 of 4 from the free throw line down the stretch to seal the win for the Pitt Panthers. North Carolina did help the lead stand by missing its final 7 shots and made just 1 of its last 11. Pitt continues tomorrow as their ACC play as they go up against Wake Forest. All right, so let me take another quick break here as waiting for our guest to pop up. That is going to be Ricky Keeler, and I'll put this up there. We are going to discuss our Super Bowl 59 streaming show with the Yinzer Report and his show, New York State of Sports. And me and Ricky are going to be doing the show together. So let's take a break. Let's see if we can get Ricky on the air here. And when I get back, hopefully we'll have Ricky and we will talk about it. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
All right, welcome back. This is Ralph Calise, host of the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I would like to introduce to you guys right now my special guest and my partner for the upcoming streaming show for Super Bowl Sunday. Here he is, Mr. Ricky Keeler. What is up, buddy? How are you?
What is up, Ralph? Happy to be here. Happy to make my Yinzer Report debut. And
that's great. I love it. I love it. All right, so I invited you on because very exciting times are coming up next week on Super Bowl Sunday. IE Sports Radio is partnering with the Ultimate Sports Radio Network, and it's going to be an all-day affair with the Super Bowl shows. And you and I were chosen to, or we picked, or I don't know how you want to say it, chosen or picked, to do a show at the 4 o'clock Eastern time slot. So I am very excited to do the show with you, of course, and just give us a little preview of how you think things are going to go for it, and a little bit about your show, being that you're the guest here on the Yinzer Report.
Sure. Well, let's start with the Super Bowl show because it's, I think, what your listeners are more interested at this point.
No. We love the New York State of Sports show here at the Yinzer Report. You know that.
No, I appreciate that. So I would say you look at, so we're, as all of our shows, well, some of us are going to be doing, so go to IE Sports Radio on YouTube, Super Bowl Sunday from, I think, 10 a.m. Eastern until kickoff. We're going to have a show.
Right.
Somebody will be hosting over the 8 hours. I think it's going to be fantastic for the network. Ralph has mentioned that him and I are going to be live from, I think, 4 to 5. So
Yes.
with 1 hour gap. And we're going to, each show is going to talk about something different. Obviously, we're going to break down the game. We're going to do our things. But we're going to focus, and I think what's big, especially with these two teams, the Eagles and the Chiefs, is legacies. Super Bowl legacy, like our favorite legacy defining plays, like what makes a legacy. Can you improve your legacy in a Super Bowl? Whether it's the Chiefs that remind everybody of the Patriots and constantly winning, even the Eagles. I mean, hey, Jalen Hurts potentially could lose 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. I mean, he's actually gotten back to the game. Not a lot of the Super Bowl losers ever get back.
No.
So the fact that he's even in the mix, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Hall of Fame. That announcement will be on Thursday, so we'll kind of react to the Hall of Famers who get honored usually before the Super Bowl. I know for here in New York, the big topic is going to be Eli Manning. If he gets in on the first ballot, despite a 500 record lifetime, but we will dive into that. And we'll talk about, of course, the other legacy thing will be the guy in the booth. Tom Brady won 7 Super Bowls, appeared in 10, and now will appear in 11 because he's calling a Super Bowl.
Yes,
so we'll get into maybe the pros and cons of what Brady can bring to a game. And a sneak preview of that is I think Brady's going to give the great insight into if there's a slow start. Some things people don't remember, especially with the Patriots, they never started well in Super Bowls. If you go back and watch the 9, Tampa was different, but they never really, I don't think they scored a lot of points in the first quarter. I don't want to get the stat wrong, but I think Brady's going to give a good hindsight and try to get into the flow of a game. But we'll dive into a lot of those things.
All right, yeah. Well, that I was going to say, as you were mentioning Tom Brady, when you put that log up for what we were going to do about the Super Bowl, I had thought about that, and I said to myself, I don't ever remember his partner that's doing the game with him. I believe it's going to be Kevin Burkhardt. I didn't know he already did a Super Bowl. Kevin Burkhardt
did it. Burkhardt did this exact matchup 2 years ago. Fox doesn't usually get.
Okay, so he did the matchup. He did the matchup the first time. Okay, so that means Troy Aikman and Joe Buck were already gone. I guess they were already doing Monday Night Football.
That was Burkhardt's first year, I think. Actually,
yeah. Okay, yeah, because Burkhardt was with Greg Olson. I remember he was doing games at the beginning of the year with Greg Olson, and then Tom Brady came and they became the partner. But that's a very interesting topic. Getting how the football player now who won all those Super Bowls is now in the booth and is going to be announcing them. I think that's great. That's going to be a great segment.
It'll be interesting to see how much they play on that, because I was listening to Troy Aikman yesterday on the Jimmy Traina podcast, and he was saying how he would tell Tom, people are probably going to want to hear more about the game than about your Super Bowl experiences. So I'm interested to see how much they actually ask Brady during the game. I think maybe it's more pregame, but does Burkhardt feed on that for certain moments or not? I think it'll be interesting.
All right, so we'll get into that. That should be fun. I was just thinking of something today. I just received my I don't know if you want to talk about it, but we can talk about it on the show.
Sure.
I just got my sheet for my boxes. So I don't know if you want to talk maybe a little bit about your aspect of, if you want to watch. A lot of people out there just watch the game for their boxes, as you would say, or bets that they make on the side, because Super Bowl is one of the biggest events that that betting is. But everybody remember out there, bet safely, bet responsible. And I don't know, we can talk about that. And I'm looking forward to the Hall of Fame thing. I'm looking forward to that should be fun, talking about the Hall of Fame. I'm really excited about doing it. I spoke to Larry before. I shot him a text that you were coming on, and he was very happy about it. Yeah, go do it. And he gave me the strong arm emoji. So we're looking good. We're looking good for next week at 4:00. At 4:00 on IE Sports Radio, and we'll do the stream. Hold on, I got a comment here from Terran. He says, "I wonder why the Super Bowl isn't on NBC anymore. Maybe they don't want Collinsworth obsessing over Mahomes." Now, here's a guy.
So NBC actually has next year's Super Bowl. Now, the cool part, because NBC kind of put a commercial.
So there you go, Taryn. You'll hear him next year because I'm sure Mahomes is going to be in it again next year.
There you go. The fun part that NBC put out there was they have the Olympics, the NBA All-Star Game, and the Super Bowl in February in 26.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to have a milestone kind of month that they kind of plans well for that. But going back to what you said about Mahomes, people talk about the NFL as this parity-driven sport. There's not that much parity in the NFL. I mean, we do get the 4 teams that are different every year in the postseason, which is an amazing stat. But the Chiefs are always in. The Bills have been always in. The Ravens have been always in. The Eagles are in a second Super Bowl in 3 years. Someone tell me where the line's been good the last 2-3 years. Outside of the Commanders, like where's the surprise? Where's the shock? Where's all these things? That's why I was saying all year, and I would go on with Larry and Taryn on 3 and Out. The Chiefs are bored. Like, you watch these games, they know they're going to beat these teams. So, like, there's no reason to blow them out. Now, it's amazing they've won, 17 straight one-score games, but the competition's just not there.
And the winning by 1 score every game is just a benefit to them because they know how to win. They're not scared, and then they have the quarterback, and then and they know how to win. And the AFC, I saw you put a comment up. I think it was on Band. You put down the AFC is weak, and I can't agree with you more on that because it's the same thing every year. Who wins the East? The Bills. Who wins the North? It's the Ravens. Who wins the South? It's Houston. And who wins the other part is Kansas City, the West. So like you say, where is the parity? And poor Josh Allen, I mentioned it at the beginning. I don't know if you heard me. It's like when Ben Roethlisberger was with the Steelers, and he went up in all those AFC Championship games against Brady. He never won. The 2 Super Bowls he went to, he didn't play versus Brady. It was Denver with, I forget even who the quarterback was.
Jake Plummer,
very good. Yes, that's who it was. And then the other game was against the Ravens when they beat the Ravens, and I believe it was Joe Flacco. Terran put the comment up here. I see. Good catch on that, Ricky. I guess he's talking about the NBC lineup for next year.
So going back to what you said, and I've been kind of thinking about this over the last week or so. Like, I compare, the reason I said AFC's weak is I look at, I'm a Tom Brady Patriot dynasty defender. So I kind of like to go with the 2 eras. So Mahomes is obviously Brady. I think Josh Allen's more Peyton Manning because I think Josh Allen can make people better based off this year. But the guy he can't beat is Brady. Manning couldn't beat Brady up until 2006, and Allen hasn't yet to beat Mahomes. So that's why I kind of put Allen in that Peyton Manning territory.
Okay, that's fair.
There's 2 comparisons I'm struggling with. Who is Aaron Rodgers in this era? And who is your guy, Roethlisberger? Like, that's the one I was trying to figure out. Who is Ben, who's 1, 2? But, like, the closest I come up with is Burrow. Even though Burrow gets compared to Brady, I think Burrow is just close to toughness level. Like, I think Lamar Jackson's Aaron Rodgers, the guy who has all the MVPs, but barely ever wins if he wins at all.
That's a great comparison because that's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, in the 1 Super Bowl Aaron Rodgers won, he beat the Steelers. And that year, Ben didn't play against Brady neither because I think that was the year Brady was hurt. I remember one year they went to the Super Bowl, Brady was hurt too. So I don't even think New England made like the not that they didn't make the playoffs, but I don't think they even made it past the first round. And
well,
yeah,
I think
they
they
beat the Ravens in the championship that game too.
Yes, the Ravens, I think actually that year beat the Patriots. That was the game I was watching. Some Ray Rice had that run on the first play, and they were up like 24-0. So I think it was the 2009 team, which the first year Brady came back and was not. I mean, he actually played well, but he was a year removed from the Achilles, so they didn't have a great team in 2009.
Yes, that was the year. That was, and that probably would have been another year he would have been in the Super Bowl. But hey,
well, think about it. If they had beaten Denver in 2005, it would have been Pittsburgh and New England the AFC.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I went to it was a Steeler Patriot. I think it was Ben's rookie year. Yeah, it was his rookie year. I went to that championship game. Oh my God. I think it was like 21-3 after the first quarter. Ben threw a pick to put them up 21. Me and my friend, we went to the food stand and we were just eating the rest of the game because it was over. It was 21-3 and it was like, oh man. But yeah, Tom Brady, we'll talk about it next week. We'll get more in depth about it. Being now an announcer, that should be an interesting topic. Hopefully everybody tunes in for that.
Honestly, he was better than Romo last week. I thought Romo. I think.
Those two guys are annoying, Jim. I mean, I watch a lot of those guys because they do a lot of the AFC, and they do the Steelers a lot, and it's like Terrence said with Chris Collinsworth. The guy is annoying too. It's just I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but hey. You either watch the game listening to the announcers or you put the volume on low and you just watch the game. But I think it's better watching it with the announcers and just put up with the garbage that they say. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. All right. So, listen, hey, thanks for joining. We'll save the rest of the stuff for next week. And like I said, I'm very excited about doing it. And I still have no plans for next week. I didn't make any plans. So.
You made one. It's just 2 hours before the game.
Yeah. Well, that I mean, like we spoke, I didn't make any plans to go anywhere yet. So whatever it is, if I do go somewhere, I'm going to be jetting out of here after we do the show and go to wherever I'm going to go, and then maybe try to get. There's going to be a post game show, I believe, with Larry B after the Super Bowl, and I would like to try to jump onto that, but we'll see what happens and how it goes.
Yeah, I might try for that as well. It's possible.
It's like I said, it's very exciting, and the way Larry had it set up where he's got the whole day streaming with the radio station, and everybody out there hopefully tunes in and gives IE Sports Radio their due and checks us out. So I will thank you again, sir. Thanks for joining.
I guess now I gotta throw the shameless plug for my show. Now that
go ahead, do what you gotta do. Yeah, well, you want me to cover up my Steelers stuff?
No, you're good. You're good. You can catch me every Monday at noon. I don't know if we'll probably keep that. We kept that. We did that more for the football season, but we'll see what we do after the football season with that. But catch me every Monday at noon, every New York sports. So obviously did a lot of Aaron Glenn last week. This week, of course, the big news tonight with the Rangers getting JT Miller. So we'll dive into that.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Must have happened when I was on air. Wow.
About I think maybe an hour ago.
Okay.
It was Miller for Hedel, Mancini, and a first-round pick.
Okay.
So that's Chris Drury making a move. The Islanders are winning, so we'll dive into them.
Yes.
Nick's trade deadline on Thursday, coming up on Thursday. Pete Alonso trying to beg his way back to the Mets.
Please.
Spring training's in a week. Well, I mean, I feel bad for Pete, but I mean, it's his. I mean, the unfortunate thing for him, the guy who drafted him and the guy that wanted to give him the contract isn't there. And David Stearns, they got him to be no holds bar. Loyalty doesn't really matter. Dollar bills matter. And I think even Steve Cohen realizes that. So
nice.
We've been talking about that the last couple of weeks. I mean, I feel like if he was going to go to Toronto, he would have won already. So I think he's trying to beg his way back.
Yeah, I told you I went to a show last week, and I met Carlos Mendoza, the Met manager, and he was, some guy was needling him as he was walking up to take a picture with him, and he's like, "You got to sign Pete. Where's Pete? Where's Pete?" And I kind of like murmured it out, like, nah, I think it's going to be Vientos. And he turned to me and he cracked a smile at me. I mean, I don't know if he would thought, what he was thinking, but I thought Pete would be gone, but I really want him back. And I think I like me and you went to that Met game and the playoff game, and it was just, I don't know, did he hit a home run that game?
That was 3-run homer off.
Yeah, he hit the 3-run. The place was going nuts. Place was going. They love him. New York fans love him.
The fans love him, but again, David Stearns is not a fan.
You could do. Yeah, I know. Maybe you could do a show on that, New York Icons, but
possible. Well, we're gonna have hopefully a special guest. I'm working on maybe a guest or two on Monday because I'm actually going Tuesday night because you just mentioned Pitt basketball, which is playing well. Maybe St. John's and Rick Pitino, 18-3, 9-1 in the league. They have potentially a huge matchup with Marquette on Tuesday. If both win tomorrow, it's essentially two top 10 teams. And I will be going to a game for the first time since I was a student 10 years ago.
Okay.
So I used to have student tickets when Lavin was the coach.
Yes.
Rick Pitino's been fantastic. I mean, his year two jump. They won 20 games all of last year. They've already won 18 this year.
I know.
It's amazing the impact that he has on programs. And I'm as an alum and as a fan, I'm stoked for.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's great. I watched a little bit of the game the other night. They played Georgetown. I think they were winning 21-5.
Yeah, that wasn't really a game because it was like 39-9.
No,
and even they scored 18 points in the second half and still won by 30.
I was like, what happened? Why did this team even show up?
They don't shoot the three, but their defense is fantastic.
They're fun to watch. They're fun to watch.
They will grind it to a halt. That's what's fun.
I was a big East fan back in the days with the Georgetown and John Thompson with Louis Conaseca and all them. And I had a friend who went to St. John's like you did, and actually my brother-in-law went to St. John's too. And St. John's is that's a neat little place over there in Queens. If you can ever get to the court there in Queens.
Court is great. I love the small thing, and I hope while Patino's there, they put the funds in to make it a little more modern compared to when I was a student. It was definitely because I had season tickets as a student, like my freshman year when they made the tournament, and I see them beat Duke. So that's why I haven't been to a game I think since the Big East tournament. 10 years, or not 10 years ago. About 10 years. Well, no, 2010-ish, I think. But no, I mean, for a Pittsburgh moment, I mean, I was at the game. I've told you this. I was at Kemba's shot against Pitt. I wasn't at the Dwight Hardy layup move with 2 seconds. Those are the days, though, when Pitt was in this league and Syracuse was in this league. I know. Now they're dwindling in an ACC that's the ACC is terrible. I mean, unfortunately, like Pitt's playing well, but look, North Carolina stinks right now.
They're on it bad.
When Duke is the only great team in the ACC, that's a problem for a league that built it. I remember Coach K was on a podcast. I meant to bring this up on my show, but maybe merging the ACC and the Big East for basketball, creating like a super conference where you have the old Big East teams. You bring in UConn in the mix now with the Big East, and you have this one giant regional conference of like 20 teams for basketball and 24 teams. And so you could do with it because that's the only way to get a rival. The SEC is going to get 14 teams in the tournament.
Yeah. And then back in those days, the Big East, they had a lot of they were 7 strong, at least in the NCAA tournament.
There was a year, I think they got 10, I think, one year.
Wasn't there one year? I know I'm going way back. I think there was a year. Wasn't there 3 Big East teams in the Final Four? I think Georgetown played St. John's and Villanova. Mm-hmm. That was the year Villanova beat Georgetown. They were on the other side.
Georgetown, Villanova. I think it was Memphis in the other team in '85. So actually, this is St. John's best start since '85.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love college basketball. I mean, I don't have a basketball team to talk about, with Pittsburgh because we don't have an NBA team. So I throw the Pitt basketball in there. But hey, we'll see what happens. All right, man. I'm going to jump off the air here. Thanks again for joining.
Pleasure to be on, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, hey, I can't wait for next week. Like I said, good luck and have a good weekend. And don't forget, catch Ricky's show at 12 o'clock Monday on IE Sports Radio. That's New York State of Sports. And as I got in the banner down there, if you want to leave a comment, he's at RICKINATEOR at 555. And of course, he is the host of at New York State Sports IE. All right, man. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
You too, pal. Thanks
again. On
again.
your show Monday.
You got it.
All right, buddy. Take care. All right, guys. So, yeah, that's it for tonight. And hope everybody enjoyed my guest. You can catch me and Ricky again. I'll shoot it out there. That's going to be next week at 4 o'clock on Sunday. Well, I'm having my show Friday. He's having his show Monday. I'm having my show Friday night. Just a little heads up on that show. I'm going to be doing a Super Bowl recap of all these Super Bowls the Steelers were in, wins and losses. So that's 6 wins and 2 losses of the 8 Super Bowls they were in. So I'm going to be doing a recap on the since it's Super Bowl weekend. Taryn is in the comment there. Great segment, you two. Thank you, Taryn. Thanks for joining in. And I saw your comment about that drop that I played. I will work on that. I did not know that. All right, guys. So once again, this is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all our sports. And like I was saying, I will be on Friday at 8 o'clock next week, just before the Super Bowl. And then me and Ricky are going to have our time slot at 4 o'clock on Sunday on the stream. So I'll cue the music up here. And again, guys out there, thanks for joining in. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for everybody who tuned in tonight. Thank you to the 123 views. We got 123 views. Thank you very much for everybody who tuned in, left a comment. Thank you again to my guest, Ricky Keeler. And again, you can catch his show 12 o'clock on Monday. He does a great job with New York sports. And I will be back at 8 o'clock next week in this time slot. And then, like I said, we'll be on Sunday at 4 o'clock for that Super Bowl streaming show. All right, guys, this is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am Ralph Calise. Thank you, and have a great night.